How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here. Today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 91, Nicolau versus Perez on April 27th, 2024. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 13. I swear to God, I'm not sounding like this because I hate this card. I'm just sick, alright? We start with Gabriel Benitez versus Mahashate. I think this is just going to be a clear win for Mahashate. I think Gabriel Benitez at this point in his career is significantly starting to slow down. He's been losing a lot of fights recently. Not losing a lot of fights, but he's been pretty win-loss for quite some time now. He's coming off a loss to, Jim Miller, and he got submitted in that one. He was losing on the feet. I personally believe that this fight is just going to be kind of a try to get Mahashate back in the win column after 2 losses in a row. Right, Mahashate, his debut, he knocks out Steve Garcia, which Steve Garcia, for some reason, is doing well in the UFC. I don't know why. He doesn't... I don't know. He's just doing good. And since then, he's lost to, underrated guys like a Rafa Garcia and Vyacheslav Borashov. Mostly, those two guys are very extremists at what they do. Rafa Garcia has very good wrestling. He's very good on the ground. And Vyacheslav Borashov is insane kickboxing, mostly boxing. And Mahashate got clipped against Vyacheslav, and he got wrestle-fucked by Rafa. Gabriel Benitez is kind of just mediocre. He's kind of mid everywhere. He's a very gritty-esque fighter. He's like the gritty veteran. But I think that age and just height advantage is going to play a big part for Mahashate, mostly with the leg difference. I believe that Mahashate's legs are going to be way longer than Gabriel Benitez. And he also likes to throw knees up and close. I think Gabriel Benitez is kind of just going to dwindle in this fight a little bit, kind of falter early in round 1, possibly later in the first round. So I'll go Mahashate first round TKO. I think he'll probably catch him with some bullshit. Maybe like a knee in the tie clinch. Then he'll drop him with a 1-2 and then finish him off with ground and pound. Mahashate hits pretty hard. He's also one of those guys who's 6 foot at lightweight. You kind of just expect to do good. So I think this is just going to be like a get Mahashate in the win column type of fight. So, yeah. We move to Ivana Petrovic versus Na Liang. Or Liang Na. I don't remember. I think I probably have that wrong. Who gives a shit? This card fucking stinks. I'm probably going to go with Ivana, if I'm being honest. I think all you need to do to beat Liang Na in a fight is just have a bit of grit and more than 1 round of cardio. I think that's literally it. We've seen this in a lot of Liang Na's fights where she's able to get dominant positions on the ground. She's kind of sloppy on the feet, and then she just gasses out, gets put in a bad position on the ground, and kind of gives up. Right? And Ivana Petrovic, she looked very nervous in her debut, is what I liked against Luana Carolina. I just think that also reach advantage and size I think is going to play a part. I just think Liang Na just holds herself back so much. She looks good in moments, but then she just kind of turns to dust after round 1. I have no idea what happens. She's been finished every loss in her UFC career via ground and pound too. I don't what, dude? And Ivana Petrovic is able to get to certain positions on the ground, even though she does specialize in striking. Like in the Luana Carolina fight, she had 5 minutes of control time, clinch and ground. So I also don't think Liang Na is that well versed in the takedown defense department. I didn't give that a goog, but I don't want to because I just want to finish recording this video, if I'm being honest. So I'll go with Ivana by late second round TKO, ground and pound, probably from half guard. I don't fucking know. We move to James Yontop versus Chris Padilla. This fight has a lot of interesting factors. I'm going with James Yontop. Now, I would have gone with James Yontop anyways, but the fact that Chris Padilla is taking this fight on like 6 days' notice also is kind of making me go to that conclusion. James Yontop on the Contender Series had a very, very impressive performance. Very young kid, has a lot of fucking experience already. Looked very good against Malik Lewis, I think was the guy's name. Landed a lot of big shots, had a lot of great moments, knocked him down twice, I believe is what the stats said or whatever. He's very patient on the feet, looks for openings. His right hand, he fucking finds that shit, dude. He baits you kind of in with his lead hand. He's got great pressure. Chris Padilla, also kind of a pressure guy. But I think the big difference here is that Chris Padilla, most of the tape I saw, he's very patient on the feet, throws some ones and twos, tries to find his way into the clinch, get a takedown. His nickname's Taco, which I think is amazing. A great nickname. But I don't think he's going to be able to take down James Yontop. James is a big fucking guy. In that fight with Malik Lewis, Malik couldn't get him down, which is a very good thing to see. He had like great takedown attempts too, got way under. James was just able to balance himself. It was insane. And James Yontop fights at a pace where it kind of is required for you to have a full camp. And, of course, Chris Padilla taking it on 6 days' notice kind of doesn't allow him to do that. So I think James Yontop might be able to get a late finish in this fight. Probably like midway through round 3, possibly. He's kind of a pressure kills kind of guy. This is not going to be a fucking Shamil Gaziev-esque pick where I'm like, you're just going to walk him down. This guy's actually going to be able to try and walk down Chris Padilla. It's going to be difficult because Chris Padilla also is going to look to walk forward and get takedowns. But I think that James Yontop's takedown defense is going to help him out. He's going to find his right hand. And also, he has good head movement, James Yontop. This is a very touted prospect I'm looking forward to. And I can't actually wait to see this fight. This is actually a good fight on this card. We move to Marnik Mann versus Caitlin Souza. Legit, honestly, I'm just going to go with Caitlin Souza because I think Marnik Mann sucks. Listen, I'm going to say this in the most polite way. Literally both times I've watched Marnik Mann fight on the Contender Series and the UFC, she got fucked up both times, dude. She got pieced up both times. Caitlin Souza, her debut was very lackluster, kind of just because she got submitted so early. But prior to that, she was on like a 6-fight win streak. She has a lot of finishes. I think 8 TKO KOs on her career. I think like 2 submissions. If she's able to get Marnik to the ground, she's going to have success. I'm kind of banking off of that because Marnik Mann looked like she couldn't do shit against Josephine Knudsen, who honestly is one of my favorite female prospects in the UFC. I just realized I forgot to write women's strawweight. Who gives a shit? This video is going to be a fucking mess. Caitlin Souza, I'll say Marnik is pretty tough. I think she'll lose a decision 30-25 is my final scorecard. We move to Don'Tale Mayes versus Caio Machado. Pretty okay heavyweight fight. I'm gonna go with Caio Machado. Sorry about that. Mostly because I was actually pretty impressed with his debut, even though he lost. He lost to Mick Parkin. He had a very close fight with Mick Parkin, which we're kind of seeing nowadays as like the gold standard against Mick Parkin, is just having very close fights with him that can kind of go either way. Caio showed a lot of grit in that fight, showed a lot of great tendencies, and honestly, I'm just kind of sick and tired of picking Don'Tale Mayes. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of done with it. He has one of the best frames we've ever seen in the UFC 6'6" with an 80-inch reach. Does jack shit with it. He has very lackluster striking. He has decent KO ability, but I think Caio Machado has a good enough chin to outlast that. And Caio Machado also is kind of a showman, so he's going to be taunting the shit out of Don'Tale Mayes. I don't think Don'Tale is going to be able to get Caio Machado down. I just think this is going to be probably a point fest at heavyweight. Caio Machado is going to win. Probably close 29-28 decision. I just think Caio Machado has fresher skills on the feet. He jabs to the body. He's got decent footwork. He's going to be able to fight from the outside, even though he has less reach. He'll have to duck on the inside, but I just don't really think Dante Mays is all that great. He's 32. Didn't know that. I thought Dante Mays was like 37. So that's all that needs to be said. Shit. We move to Austin Hubbard versus McCall Figlak. I'm gonna go with. This one's tough. I'll go with McCall. I'll go with McCall Figlak. I can honestly see Austin Hubbard being able to take down McCall Figlak and being able to land some good stuff on him. But, yeah, I think McCall Figlak, I think he had a very lackluster performance in his debut against Perez. He hasn't fought since then, which that was the Tuivasa Gan card back in like 2022. Is that what that was? Yeah. Which is kind of scary. But I just think that overall, as a mixed martial artist, I think that McCall Figlak is just a little bit better. I think he's going to be able to pick his shots on the feet better. He doesn't have a significant reach disadvantage in this one like he did against Perez, who's, fucking 6 foot something at lightweight. I also think that Austin Hubbard is able to do stuff on the ground, but I think McCall Figlak did show prowess in that Perez fight to be able to get up. The problem I think he has is just getting controlled in the clinch a lot, which could pose a threat, but I think Austin Hubbard is... We're also seeing a trend with these the Ultimate Fighter dudes of this McGregor-Chandler season. They just all suck. They just all fucking suck. So I'll go with McCall Figlak. Unanimous decision, probably like 29-28. Maybe a 30-27 snuck in there, I don't know. We move to the featured prelim, Ronnie Yaha versus Victor Henry. Woo-wee. I'm going Victor Henry. I think that Victor Henry has beaten better competition. I think Ronnie Yaha is an old man who all he can do is grapple. I think if Victor Henry touches Ronnie Yaha, we might need an ambulance. I mean, look at this fucking guy. Look at him. Look at this. Look at the state of this fucking man. This man is a featured prelim... Holy shit. Victor Henry has that win over Rioni Barcelos, where he was a big old underdog. Victor Henry he has good footwork. He has decent striking. He's coming off the weird fight with Javid Basharat, which I don't really remember if Javid was able to get him to the ground. I don't even remember if he was shooting in that fight. He was more trying to stand up with him, which is something Javid Basharat should stop doing because it cost him his fight against Ayman Zahabi. But, Victor Henry, I think, is going to take this mostly due to age difference, and also just a skill gap. I think he's just a way better fighter than Ronnie Yaha. All Ronnie Yaha has is the ground. That's it. I don't think he's going to be able to take Victor Henry down. I'm banking on that. So, kill the old man, please. We move to Tim Means versus Uros Medic. Honestly, kind of a banger of a fight, I'm not going to lie. Bless myself. Honestly, I'm not mad at a Tim Means pick, but I'm going to go with Uros Medic. Uros is, of course, coming off that Miktabek Orabai performance that kind of was just very disappointing. But Miktabek Orabai is going to be the champion. So, that's all that needs to be said. Tim Means had a very great performance his last time out against Andre Fiallo. I don't know why I was saying Andre Fiallo. Andre Touchy-Feely. They both don't have chins. It doesn't matter. Anyways, Tim Means looked very good in that fight. Had a lot of great moments. But Uros, I feel, is... Not only is he younger, I think he also probably has a dog advantage in this fight. Uros Medic is low-key a dog. And he was able to take big old swings from Matt Semmelsberger. And I think if Matt hit Tim Means, I think he'd die. That's all I'm going to... Tim Means is a dog, don't get me wrong. I think this is going to be very competitive on the feet. I think Uros Medic is just going to slightly outweigh him. Not outweigh him, just outweigh the punches a little bit. Ones and twos, kicks to the body. I think Uros is just going to slightly outpoint him. And honestly, I think it's going to come down to the third round for Tim Means. He needs a finish, and I think he's almost going to find it. He's almost going to be able to finish Uros Medic in that third round, but he's not going to be able to. So I'll go Uros Medic 29-28. He's going to win the first 2 rounds. But after that, in the third round, I think Tim Means is going to take over, not be able to finish him, though. So that's my prediction for this fight. But I can see Tim Means coming out with another win as an underdog. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I just believe that Uros Medic kind of has a bigger tool bag than Tim Means does. So, yeah. We move to Jonathan Pierce versus David Onama. This one's very interesting. David Onama, of course, missed weight. So he's going to have like a rehydration thing where he's going to be a bit bigger than Jonathan Pierce. The thing that scares me about a David Onama in this situation is the fact that David Onama has... Many people surrounding him have gone on record and said that he slacks in the gym, he's not coachable, he kind of just does whatever he wants, he's kind of an arrogant figure, and I think that shows by him missing weight. Jonathan Pierce is a very underrated guy in this featherweight division, very decent grappling, has some solid skills on the feet. David Onama, a lot of people are going to look at the Nate Landwehr fight, but they're going to forget that he took that Nate Landwehr fight on like 2 weeks' notice, right? And he actually made weight for that fight. So, I don't know what's going on with that. David Onama is such a weird guy because he has such great power, but he is kind of he does have a couple sloppy tendencies, but man, when he's on, he's on. And I think that Jonathan Pierce, he's kind of coming off a weird performance against Joe Anderson Brito, where he was able to grapple with Joe Anderson, but then he got submitted. We haven't seen David Onama fight in so long, though, so that's why this fight is so complicated to pick. But then I'm seeing that Jonathan Pierce got finished by Joe Lozon with ground and pound. I'm going to go with David Onama by first round TKO. I think David Onama is going to be able to clip him. He's going to find him early, and he's going to finish him with ground and pound. If David Onama, and here is my prophecy for this fight, guys. If David Onama does not KO him in the first round, he will lose this fight. But I think David Onama is going to find his chin, because Jonathan Pierce sometimes does leave openings, and so does David Onama. Neither of these guys are perfect, of course. But David Onama is more keen to finding those certain holes, and also he packs a hell of a punch. And also David Onama made fucking light work of a guy that Lerone Murphy went life and death with on short notice. So, David Onama, I think he just has to be a bit more professional, does David Onama. He's also younger. He also has really long arms. And I think Jonathan Pierce is going to struggle with this a little bit. But this fight is very interesting. This is a very, shaky pick for me, if I'm being honest. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Jonathan Pierce win just to kind of set back David Onama a little bit more because of his unprofessionalism. But I'm going to go with David Onama based on that nuclear option. And also, I just believe that Jonathan Pierce does at times leave openings. I mean, we saw it in the Joe Anderson Brito fight. he kind of just lacks IQ in certain moments. It kind of happens with everybody. But yeah, David Onama, first round KO. Lock it in, maybe. This is a very weird pick. We move to Austin Lane versus Jonathan Deniz. I'm gonna go with Jonathan Deniz. And listen, honestly, this is kind of a toss-up, if I'm being honest. For a glory kickboxer, Jonathan Deniz, very early in fights, makes a lot of mistakes, leaves openings, and Austin Lane might be able to capitalize. But I think the problem with this fight is Austin Lane is autistic. He's he's gonna try and stand and bang with Jonathan Deniz, and he's gonna get clipped for it, like Neves on the Contender Series did with Deniz. And listen, Deniz, when he gets going, like, he entered a flow state after around 2 minutes and 30 seconds when he was landing almost everything he was throwing. Before that, he looked very sloppy, threw a lot of shit out of range. He doesn't really set up a lot of his stuff early in fights, and honestly, I can see him getting caught for that. But the thing is, he's fighting Austin Lane, who, he's kind of just... I mean, we need an IQ test done for this guy. Listen, Austin Lane has one of the greatest frames I've ever seen for a UFC fighter in my fucking life. But he's just kind of stupid. You know, he's a freak athlete, able to throw really cool kicks at 6'6". But he also got chinned in his last fight. So maybe he'll be more of a, like, not aggressive approach. But honestly, I don't really think it matters. Deniz showed some I mean, he didn't get taken down. That's good, but he was fighting kind of a mediocre guy in Neves. So I'll go with Jonathan Deniz first round KO over Austin Lane, based on Austin Lane having Asperger's. We move to Ariane Lipski versus Karina Silva. I saw that Ariane Lipski goes by something else. I forgot what it was. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. I don't really give a shit. But I just want to put that out there, that I did see that she does have a new nickname, and I think her last name now is De Silva. I didn't really care that much about it. I'm sorry. It came out literally like last minute, and I already had this video, recording. So I'm gonna go with Karine Silva anyways. I'm sorry, but I was just dick sucking the shit out of her. I'm sorry about her last name. I'm picking Karine Silva. Karine Silva is one of my favorite female prospects right now, and there's a reason for it. She has an 100% finish rate, which is something you rarely see in women's MMA. Very hard to come across. She has every win by submission, every win by knockout. She's getting the finish in this fight, but it's going to be tough, because usually Karine Silva, her 3 wins in the UFC have all been first-round submissions, and she's fighting a lady in Ariane Lipski who has never been submitted in her career. And I think this is going to be the first real test for Karine Silva, and I think she might be able to pass with flying colors. Ariane Lipski in her last fight was fighting Casey O'Neill. After that fight, it kind of showed me that Casey O'Neill isn't really that high tier anymore. I should have probably guessed that after she lost to Jennifer Maia, but that's kind of just my bad. All right, I didn't read the signs. But Karine Silva is, man, she's a dog too. She's a dog. She's able to find great positions out of nowhere on the ground. I think her knee bar finish, she actually has a win over a girl that was mentioned previous on this card. I forget who it was. It was Caitlin Souza. It was the Caitlin Souza girl that's fighting Marnik Man. And she finished her in the first round. Not in the first round. Of course, all 3 of her wins in the UFC are first round. She finished her in like a minute and 42 seconds. Or some crazy, I think it was like minute 45, minute 42, I think. She has a leg lock submission win. She has a last-second submission against, was it Marina Moroz? Is that who that was? Karine Silva is a murderer, man, but Ariane Lipski has showed massive improvements in her striking. Karine Silva is all right on the feet, so I think this is going to be a real big test, and I think this is actually going to be kind of a dog fight. if I'm being honest. If Karina Silva isn't able to submit her in the first round, which honestly I don't think she will, I think she's going to find a late third round finish, maybe submission in a bad position. Either she submits her super early when they're both dry, or she tires out, they're both tired, and she kind of just finds her way into submission and gets her. But anything in between, anything can happen, baby. We move to Ryan Spann versus Anthony Smith 3. I don't know why we needed the trilogy. It's a dead joke, I know. Ryan Spann versus Bogdan Guskov. Listen. I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov. I just want to be a different person, if I'm being honest. Because I think it'd be so fucking hilarious if Ryan Spann loses to Bogdan Guskov. This fight, I'm joking. I'm going to go with Ryan Spann, of course. I just think that Ryan Spann, he's been more competitive with better people. He's also, like, in the first round, Ryan Spann is very dangerous. He has a lot of great tendencies, and I think the reason why Bogdan has a high chance of losing this is due to his hand placement. He has his hands so fucking low, his chin's wide open. But here's the thing. I would not be shocked if Bogdan Guskov knocks out Ryan Spann in the first round, because his chin is kind of that bad. But I think they're trying to give Bogdan Guskov, like, this is your fight up the rankings, you want to be this guy, but I think it's a terrible decision from the UFC to do this. Bogdan Guskov does train with Johnny Walker and a couple other guys. I think he's friends with those guys. So he does have tape on Ryan Spann from when Johnny Walker fought him. But then again, when you rewatch that Johnny Walker-Ryan Spann fight, Ryan Spann was kind of fucking Johnny Walker up until he got KO'd with elbows when he was going for a takedown, right? It's kind of like Ryan Spann. This fight is more or less Ryan Spann versus himself. His IQ, he gets in his own way a lot of the times. If Ryan Spann fights a fight, if he fights the way he fought against, like, Dominic Reyes, he will easily dispatch of Bogdan Guskov, all right? You kind of just have to touch him a little bit. Also, take him down if you want. Bogdan Guskov does not have that great grappling. We saw that in the Volkan Oezdemir fight. He got fucking tapped out, right? Did he get tapped out or did he get it ground and pound? I kind of forget how that fight ended. But I do remember he got knocked down, and then I think he either got submitted or ground and pounded. But I think Ryan Spann can honestly... Ryan Spann has been very competitive with very good guys, like a Johnny Walker. The Nikita Krylov fight, up into the submission, was very fun and entertaining and kind of like, oh my god, what's happening? And then he got submitted. Anthony Smith, their second fight was very competitive. And I know Anthony Smith's not really that great anymore, but, like, there's a high skill level difference between him fighting that and him fighting Bogdan Guskov. And Bogdan Guskov's coming off the Zach Pyoga win, which is just leagues below, you know what I'm saying? Ryan Spann, if he keeps his guard up high, listen, Bogdan's a wild man. He's going to have to look out for the shots coming up, all right? And he might get clipped, or he may not. I'm going Ryan Spann, first round KO. We move to the main event, Mateus Nicolau versus Alex Perez in the main event. What a main event, guys. Alex Perez hasn't won a fight since 2020. Let's get him a main event. Let's go. I know it's circumstances. I know Manel Kape pulled out, but I'm going Mateus Nicolau. Honestly, I think it would be a crime if Alex Perez wins this fight because he shouldn't even be in this position in the first place. Mateus Nicolau, the only reason why he has a chance of losing this fight is because of his chin. And I don't think Alex Perez is going to be able to find it. I think Mateus Nicolau is just a way better fighter. He's more fast. He has better fundamentals on the feet. He has good grappling. Mateus Nicolau, he could make this probably boring and probably ride out a 25-minute decision. We've seen Alex Perez struggle against grapplers. he honestly could submit Alex Perez if he's feeling cheeky enough, because Alex Perez, if not, I think a lot of his losses come by submission. Muhammad Mokaev couldn't submit him because he had diarrhea and sickness on the day. But Muhammad Mokaev also fucking sucks. So, there's that. I just think Alex Perez, I don't really, listen, he can win based off a puncher's chance, but I just don't see him doing that to Matheus Nicolau. Matheus Nicolau is you have to throw some bonk shit to knock him out. You got to throw a random high kick or a literally random step-in knee to knock him out, and Alex Perez doesn't really do stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'll go Matheus Nicolau, 49-46 unanimous decision. Very boring. Very boring. Actually, you know what? He might submit him. I'll go Matheus Nicolau, third round submission, rear naked choke. He either is going to win a very boring decision, or he's going to submit him in the third round. Rear naked choke, of course. Because that's the specialty when you're fighting Alex Perez. Yeah, this is a main event. I'm UFC Thoughts. These are my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 91. Nicolau versus Perez on April 27th, 2024. My confident picks reside with James Yontop, Kyle Machado, and Victor Henry. My pre-card rating is a 4 out of 10. That's a little harsh. I think this card really suffers from the main event and Manel Kape pulling out. There are a couple decent fights on here. Some that I'm looking forward to, like the James Yontop fight, David Onama. Honestly, Ariane Lipski versus Karine Silva is one of my favorite fights on this entire card. That's saying something. Not really. Those are both great WMMA fighters. Yeah. I'll see you guys after the fights. Peace.